It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
At Rolls Rolla, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. We are live from the Palestra. No, we're not live from the Palestra, but this is my Palestra background today. I figure I'm in Philadelphia. We do a little virtual background here. I'm upstairs. I got bumped this morning by my mom. She's got an occupational therapist here. So that means that we go up to the second level here. So I'm back. I was in the nice kitchen yesterday, but now I've been bumped up to the second floor, which is fine. I'm always kind of been an upper deck guy. 700 level, as we say here affectionately in Philadelphia. Veteran Stadium back in the day, they had the 700 level. And the 700 level was amazing because it was terrifying. It was where all like the vagrants and degenerates from Philly sports went. I got to take this off. I can't take myself seriously with this. I have enough trouble taking myself seriously as it is. Let's go to no background. Okay, there you go. So it's the Pete Sousa Show. We got Cam Stewart coming up in the second segment. Cam and I are going to break down Baylor and their opportunity to get to the NCAA tournament. Right now, as of this morning, Joe Lunardi has Baylor as one of the last buys, right? So not the last four in, but one of the last four buys, which honestly, things could really change. We saw last night St. Mary's losing to Gonzaga. So Gonzaga now gets an automatic bid to the tournament. That could quite possibly shake up the way that other bids are concerned on the bubble. This year, you keep hearing the terminology, the bubble is weak. All right, so what does that mean? What it means is a team like Oklahoma, playing in the SEC, which is obviously one of the best conferences in the country, has 4 conference wins. That is like an ugly conference record, but Oklahoma's on the bubble. Oklahoma's actually in right now. Texas, as I pull up my latest Joey brackets, Texas is the first 4 out. Oklahoma last 4 in. Baylor last 4 buys with Arkansas, San Diego, and Utah State. Baylor today playing Kansas State. That game is a 7 o'clock tip-off, 6 Eastern or 6 Central Time, 7 Eastern. The Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacics, presented by D1. We are on the cusp of some very cool things. Meeting with the hospital next week, trying to really get some more big time sponsorships. But yeah, we got a lot of good stuff going on. Also, you got to thank Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, Crawford Austin Properties. And again, we couldn't be here without Slovacics. Slovacics is the best. So Kansas State and Baylor tonight. Baylor is a 6.5-point favorite in that game. If I'm a Baylor fan, I'm terrified about tonight. I really am, because we're already starting to see the stuff that happens in March happen. Again, I point back to Gonzaga beating St. Mary's last night. So now it looks like there's possibly two teams from that WCC conference getting in, with St. Mary's possibly getting an at-large bid. And so what that does to the tournament is take teams like Baylor, Oklahoma, a team right now like a Kansas State that's trying to make a run, or Cincinnati. It actually puts their bids, let me fix this. It puts their bids in jeopardy. And that's why tonight's game is so important. It's really important for Kansas State too. I talked with King McClure about this on the Inside the 12 show we do. Kansas State is a dark horse in this Big 12 tournament. They took care of business yesterday. And then I was watching some of the Big 12 coverage, and Fran Fraschilla was talking about this last night, that Kansas State's dangerous right now. Kansas State has a lot of talent. Now, I think they're a 6.5-point. That's a lot of points, by the way, to a Baylor team without Joshua Jambwana, who really hasn't shown us that they're a take care of business type team yet. Like, I don't feel like, regardless of who Baylor plays, unless it's a really bad team, that you can just point at them and say, okay, they're going to win tonight. Don't worry about it. Don't look at your TV. Don't look at your phone. Just check the score after, and I can guarantee that Baylor will be victorious. It's just not that kind of year. So this game is a pivotal one for the Baylor fan base, because you don't want to, like, let's say you go and you get your doors blown off tonight and some crazy stuff happens. And what do I mean by crazy stuff? Well, a team that's not supposed to win a conference tournament wins it. And the regular season team in that conference was really good and deserves an at-large. Then all of a sudden, the pieces of the pie start to get smaller and smaller, which makes this game huge for Baylor. Sticking with the Big 12, just to go over these second-round games. Zach, if you want to put that bracket up, Zach Burke back in the home base, just man in the ship. I think Scotty Swingler's calling softball this week. A little entree into radio play-by-play. And he's traveling with the Baylor women's team, which is cool. I got a Baylor softball game next Saturday. Is it next Saturday? This Saturday. So looks like I got to start preparing. Okay, so here we go. Today, Iowa State, 9.5-point favorite over Cincinnati, a Cincinnati team with nothing to lose. Now, there's a game where you say, okay, Cincinnati, that's great. You have nothing to lose. Iowa State is going to smother you. this is my opinion. Yesterday we were 2-2 against the spread, by the way, if anyone's keeping score at home. But Iowa State's that team, right? They're that team, especially, they didn't get the double bye in the Big 12. The top 4 teams did. So here's Iowa State, the best team outside of that top 4 by a long shot. They're a lot better than a Baylor team. So I think these games, when you're playing a bubble team, right, that's backed into a corner and feisty, if you're Iowa State, it doesn't matter. You're that good. So I think Iowa State wins that one. Colorado and West Virginia. West Virginia, a 7.5-point favorite. A Colorado team that really dug deep and beat TCU yesterday. Props to them. They did not want their season to end. Tad Boyle talked to his team in the locker room yesterday. And this is the time of year it gets so fun because coaches, you can write your own ending. Your team can. I mean, you can get hot. And like NC State did it last year in the ACC. And then they did it in the NCAA tournament, right? Colorado, could they do it? Woof, man, that is like a 0.5% chance. But like, that's why you roll the ball out and play. They won yesterday. They upset TCU. They're the 16th seed in the tournament, right? That's dead last in the Big 12. So they're a 7.5-point underdog against West Virginia. I saw West Virginia Saturday night. They had to dig deep to ward off a UCF team that's not that good. So, again, West Virginia should win, especially this is when you talk to players like King or guys that played when they say that bye is so important because now you're a Colorado team that played yesterday and you've got to go against a fresh West Virginia team. I told you about Kansas State Baylor. Baylor's a 6.5-point favorite. I'm worried for Baylor in that game. I will be watching and watching with bated breath. If I was a betting man, I would certainly take Kansas State in that game, plus the 6.5. And then UCF and Kansas. It's a scary one, man. It's going to be a late night game, probably starting around 8:30, 9 o'clock local time in Kansas City. So just like a funky vibe, quite possibly in the arena for a Kansas team that has had like a funky year and a UCF team that's like, dude, they're going to put points on the board. Like, will they play defense? But it's not going to be like you're watching an arm wrestling match, trying to see them put the ball in the hole. Like, they've got Darius Johnson. They've got Keshawn Hall. Jordan Ivory Curry was back last night. He's fresh. They've got a bunch of guys that come off the bench that will make plays. Like, one of their best players going into the year is Debo Coleman, and he's been playing so poorly that he's been relegated to a role off the bench. But when it's like, oh, wow, here's a guy that was a featured player for them coming off the bench in January now, like or starting in January. It's like, oh, my gosh, now this guy's coming off the bench and he's playing well. UCF's dangerous. So by no means is that a walk for Kansas, although the odds makers feel like it will be because they're 10.5-point favorites. Two other teams of Big 12 note to keep an interest on. Oklahoma plays Georgia today in the SEC tournament. If Oklahoma loses that game, they will not make the NCAA tournament. Texas, I think Texas has today off. Let me check that real quick. I go to my ESPN app here. I go to the Southeastern Conference. Drum roll. Texas has off today. So it's Georgia, Oklahoma. They play 9:30. Georgia's a 3.5-point favorite. So that is by no means a walk. And then Texas is does Texas play today? Let me see. No, Texas does not play today. When do they play? Let's figure this out. Today is Thursday. This is wild. We're on the case right now. Texas basketball. Everybody just stick with me here. This is what's fun about live podcasting as we figure this out. Okay, they play Vanderbilt at 3:30 today. So Texas plays today. Texas has to win that game, okay? If they lose that game, they could be bounced from the NCAA tournament. So our former buddies from the Big 12 are fighting for their lives today. It's interesting. And I'm not saying look, they never should have left the Big 12. I'm not saying that at all. And, you do what you have to do if you're Joe Castiglione and Oklahoma. But at the same time, you look at this and you say, okay, like here are these two teams. Like if they were in the Big 12, would they still be going to the big dance, or would they be going to the big dance? I'm not sure. A lot of stuff to talk about with the tournament. We're going to save Baylor specifics for Cam Stewart coming up in a little bit. The NFL draft, this has become super interesting to me because here we are in March. It's March 12th. And March Madness is upon us. The selection show is coming up this Sunday. It's crazy, right? Like, so in a few days, we're going to be figuring out where everybody's going to play in the NCAA tournament and where I'll pack my bags and go to broadcast the NIT. Much more exciting about the NCAA. We're talking about the NFL draft. Like, I am interested in the NFL draft. And there's a lot of sizzle around the draft this year. Shedeur Sanders is a big reason why. So is Travis Hunter. So is Cam Ward. So is Abdul Carter. When you look at the top 4 picks, right, it's going to be so interesting. The Giants could possibly trade up to that number 1 spot to get a quarterback, to solidify a quarterback, where they would have the opportunity to take Cam Ward. There's a debate now that's starting to brew about Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. Who is the better quarterback? The focus from what I'm reading and seeing from guys that know a lot more about this process than I do, and the thought is that Cam Ward is more of an explosive type quarterback. So although he may be a little more turnover prone, he is like an elite athlete and an elite thrower, has an elite arm, right? And all the intangibles, maybe you say, that Shedeur has. He's an amazing leader. He has that moxie, right? Like he's been around the game. He knows the game, right? Obviously, he's an extension of his dad, who certainly knows his way around the NFL locker rooms, and NFL hype. But Cam Ward is someone who, first of all, you got to give Cam Ward props. He's played so much college football. He began at whatchamacallit, the Catholic school in San Antonio, Incarnate Word. And now here he finished his career in Miami with the most touchdowns ever in NCAA history. Like, this is a guy who's played a lot of football, and it's proven he can play at a lot of different levels. We're not talking about a physical specimen who has just like been dropped from onto planet Earth to play quarterback. He has skills, but he is explosive, and that is what scouts and front office guys and GMs like. Shedeur Sanders, maybe a little less explosion, but I would take, if you had to pick from the two of those guys, I would take Shedeur Sanders because I'm going strictly on gut and it factor. Now, neither one of those quarterbacks, neither one put into a horseshit organization is going to be able to be successful right away. It's impossible for a quarterback that is on a team that has no tools, no protection, to ascend to new heights so early on in their career. But I think if of the two quarterbacks to put in, if you want a quarterback that will win for you, I think Shedeur is a winner. And I think Cam Ward is probably a little more exciting. Jaden Daniels has had a major effect. We were all quarterback so alluring, right, to all of us. It's the most important position on the field. Nobody's going to debate that. And Jaden Daniels gave us a reminder of that this year. The Washington Commanders were so bad. I mean, it was like blow the organization up time. And they got a new coach with Dan Quinn, a new philosophy. They got some new parts, like we're talking about, a better infrastructure and a better supporting cast for a guy like Jaden Daniels. But like, wow, rookie quarterback completely changes everything, right? Everything for his team in the NFL. And the Washington Commanders made the NFC Championship. So if you're sitting at home and you look at the NFL draft and you say, well, there's Abdul Carter. Now, I know that Abdul Carter is going to be a guy that could play a decade or more in the NFL as an all-pro. Like, it's kind of like Myles Garrett, right? Playing for the Cleveland. Myles Garrett is one of the best defenders, forget about defensive linemen, in all of the NFL, right? Makes sense. But his team has sucked for a very long time. And it's not Myles Garrett's fault, but he just doesn't have the opportunity or the bandwidth playing at defensive end to change the game like a quarterback does. So when you have a top draft pick, top 3, top 4, and you have quarterbacks like this in the draft, which, by the way, again, when you look at these names and you look at the top of the draft, I was trying to get a graphic to share with you guys, and it's like impossible. You have to, like, if you're going to like put together a graphic, you actually have to do it yourself and do work, which, like, I'm just not about inputting. Who is really? But I couldn't find one that isn't like, when you scroll down and I have like a bio on every single guy that's getting picked. I just want like the draft board mock draft. That's all I want. I even saw McShay had like a top 15, just like best available guys, which was a great list. But I think it's so exciting that you have like these like superheroes that are football players that are so exciting, right? Like action figures that are going to be drafted. These are really exciting guys that are going to be on the draft board at the top of the draft for this year. And there are guys who could change your organization. And, back to the Jaden Daniels, when you have a quarterback that comes in and proves his worth and proves that, hey, taking a quarterback that high in the draft is something that can completely change your organization right away. It's a copycat league. So now we'll only continue to see these quarterbacks taken higher in the draft because it's basically like buying a lottery ticket. And the lottery ticket saw a calculated lottery ticket, but that lottery ticket for the Washington Commanders, did they hit the jackpot this year? They hit the Powerball, right? With Jaden Daniels. Now you can tell me, oh, we knew Jaden Daniels was going to be this good. Like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. There's no sure thing, right? Like these guys, we take them at the very top of the draft, and there's so much about these players that we don't know. Even though NFL executives and front office guys and scouts and agents and the like, they do their best to learn just as much as they can about these players. Sometimes the agents run interference on that. Sometimes they help. But so much about these guys. But what you can't predict is the humanity of someone. And, how long they're really going to stay in the facility when they get that money, how they're going to adjust to a new city. Jaden Daniels, I'm sorry. It's very clear that his support system is awesome. I mean, we saw his mom a couple times this year, and it was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I think with Shador, that makes sense too. Back to what we talked about earlier in the week, Shador goes to the combine. He's talking to the press. He's got his hat on backwards. He meets with a couple teams, and there's a couple rumors out there that he was unprofessional. That is such BS, in my opinion. It is such BS, and we see it all the time. And now we're seeing it again. And I'll even say this: I don't care if it's uncomfortable, and as a white guy, whatever. But like, I still believe there is like it's still hard for people when they see a black quarterback to just make it like so easy. Like, oh yeah, okay, like that's going to be the top of our organization in a league where the owners are mostly old white guys. I think there's a disconnect there. I think there's still it's harder to wrap your mind around spending the hundreds of millions of dollars it takes to spend on quarterbacks at the top of the draft. That's just how I feel. And I think it's wrong. I mean, it's egregious, but it exists. And I think that's something that is like a third rail topic, but I believe it's still something that's out there. So that's something that like I've been so captivated by. Another thing on the home front here that is kind of hilarious. My mom, because I call games for ESPN, she's not really like a hardcore sports fan. I mean, I was fortunate, right? Like I'm sitting here right up the street from Villanova. She worked in the athletic department. That was a caveat into so much access and experience for me as a young guy that it really got me started in sports. I would say it gave me a head start. I mean, when I went to college, one of the guys who was closest to me in my life was the sports information director at Villanova, when they won the NCAA championship. And then, he moved on to USA Basketball, and he was doing all the public relations and sports information for the Dream Team. This is Craig Miller. But like, I had that access. My mom made all that happen for me. I mean, and she started out as a secretary in the athletic department. And she didn't end up being the athletic director, by the way, but she forged a lot of great relationships. She ended up like running the student union building. But my mom being at Villanova opened doors for me that I know other young people didn't have the ability to have them swung open. So like, I'm forever grateful. But she's not like a sports fanatic, right? I can remember, I will say this, sitting at home here, and I got an email from ESPN like, hey, we want to confirm you for 3 NIT games, first round, second round, and the quarterfinals. And I do, you think you kind of have these moments like of like gratitude. And I was like, wow, like that's really cool. I truly do remember being at what's now called Finneran Pavilion in 1987 as a young whippersnapper. Now, these were not the hardest tickets in the world to get because Villanova, after winning a championship 2 years earlier, and then they went to the tournament in 86, but they got bounced, I think, in the second round. 87, they're hosting an NIT game against crosstown rival LaSalle. Lionel Simmons, okay? Tim Legler, Doug Overton. Legler hit a buzzer beater to beat Villanova in the NIT. I was right there. I was like second or third row. Again, like the tickets weren't impossible to get. I was sitting with my mom. I remember I was so devastated. Legler beat us in the NIT. And LaSalle actually went to the NIT championship that year in 87, but they lost. But so there's a thread for me in the NIT. And an appreciation there. It's not like I date back to, 1956 NIT when it was like the only game in town. But my mom is not a huge sports fan, but she has the ESPN app and gets the ESPN alerts. Well, if you have those ESPN alerts, and at some point in time, you clicked yes to the Adam Schefter alerts, you are getting a lot of Adam Schefter. Now, look, someday, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could all be having these problems like Adam Schefter has right now, that he is so good at his job, that he is everywhere, and that nowadays, this time of year, with free agency and the 24-hour-a-day business that it is in itself in the offseason of the NFL, Schefter's the guy. But he has been blowing up everyone's phone with all of these transactions. Like, my mom does not care that Laramie Tunsil got traded. So she doesn't need like the 5 alerts about it. And guess who hears about it? Me. The conversations. Right? Who is this? Do you know this Adam Schefter? My mom had a stroke. She's doing great, by the way. Again, downstairs working with the occupational therapist right now. Who's this Adam Schefter? I'm like, oh, he's amazing at his job. Why do I keep getting those alerts? I'm like, look, I'm getting them too. At this point, I think we just power through it. I think I get to see what these updates are and what the transactions are, and I move forward with an appreciation, a little bit of knowledge as to what's going on. My mom is just annoyed, and Adam Schefter is pushing her to the brink. So, Shefty, good job. Keep it coming. I enjoy seeing how she reacts. And any chance I get to talk about Adam Schefter with my mother is actually a really cool moment for the two of us to share. More moments coming up. I think we got Cam Stewart. I don't see him right now in the bullpen. I'll shoot him a note, tell him to get ready. We're going to step aside, take a quick break, talk Baylor basketball as we head into the Big 12 tournament. Tonight, Baylor squaring off with Kansas State and Jerome Tang. Jerome Tang. Fraschilla said this last night. I'll check with Cam to make sure because I didn't check it myself. 19 years as an assistant with Tang at Baylor. 19. Wow. Whew. We'll step aside. Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovaceks after this. Let's get Cam.
Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
I need to get real excited.
Sure.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Sheridan Vasquez, and this is Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions. And I will be interviewing some of your favorite musicians and maybe some you've never heard before. Join me on Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions for something new every time. You can find Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemediamusic.com. Yeehaw. And keep the music playing.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. Want to turn your passion into profit? With Blogify, creating a blog has never been easier. Build, customize, and grow your site with powerful tools designed for beginners and pros alike. Start sharing your story today and watch your audience grow with Blogify. Visit blogify.ai today for a free 3-day trial. That's Blogify, Blogify.ai today. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Stay connected no matter where you are with eSIM-X. Say goodbye to expensive roaming charges and physical SIM cards. With access to over 200 global carriers, we make mobile connectivity seamless and affordable for travelers worldwide. Join the future of communication today at esimx.com. That's ESIMX.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Easy Sun has been living fearlessly under the sun since 2016. Born from sailors' need for convenient sun protection, our mineral sunscreen is crafted with natural ingredients offering broad spectrum protection against UVA and UVB rays. Safe for your skin and the environment, stay protected on the go with Easy Sun, your ultimate sun care solution. Visit EasySun.com today. That's EEZYSUN.com.
Locked on Baylor. There he is, Cam Stewart. Cam, you want to say something?
Huh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Hold on. You want to see something cool?
Yes.
Okay. I did this today, but it looks janky. But I was like hoping I could maybe make it work. You see?
I see it. I'm
at the Palestra.
Oh, I thought it was the Gare du Nord or something. Nice. The Palestra Pete.
All right, let's go back to normal because actually all that is a distraction. Cam, I appreciate you joining me today. It's a busy day. Is it warm in Chicago, by the way?
No, it was in the 60s on Monday. It was beautiful, like absolutely gorgeous. The sun's out, but it's dipped back down. It's been in the 30s. Right now feels like 29.
What about Marchand?
What about Marchand?
He got traded.
Better without him. 2-0, 2 regulation wins against Atlantic Division playoff teams without him.
I want to talk to you a couple things. First, we're going to talk
about the camp show today, by the way. Big part. Yeah.
What'd you say?
Big part of the camp show today. Bruins in the fallout and how good it's been. Yeah.
Oh, are you happy he's gone?
No, but they played really well the last 2 games, and they had an awesome night last night. Like,
will they make the playoffs?
That is a question we're going to tackle in the show. They have a chance, Pete. They have a chance. All of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere, they do have a chance. Whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. But
There is nothing like a late season burst for your team after a couple of like organizational moves. You got a new coach. One of your best players is gone, but you have new life, right? It's an interesting time, and it's funny how the fan base gets rallied.
yeah, it sure is, and I think it was definitely unexpected because not only did you, and this usually comes with a big organizational shakeup, but it wasn't just that. It was the fact that you sucked for the whole season, right? And now all of a sudden there's life in it. There's life in the way that they play, and as a good sports towns, they notice that. The fans notice that. So that's kind of what we've seen the last two games, and specifically last night. We got like fight night at the end of the game. They weren't getting pushed around anymore. Like all the kind of extraneous bullshit that we love as fans, like was kind of on display in that game. So yeah,
Since we're talking about this right now, I want to.
Okay, all right. I didn't mean to put you in this, but
no, I want to get to a philosophical thing about sports media that I've been wanting to talk to you about. So I was listening to Bill Simmons and Brian Curtis and Ryan Russillo on The Ringer yesterday, and they were talking about sports media and where we are, what's appetizing for fans, how much more shelf life, around the horn, gone, kind of where we're going. You've been doing something that I want to copycat recently, and I thought about it, but you've been it's almost as though the reaction pods, the reaction stuff is a space that everyone is looking for, and it's not always there. Here's a great example, okay? I thought of you, and it was an apt thought. You had a lot of attention on your trade podcast or your trade live after Marchand got traded, right?
Yeah. So it was a couple minutes right after the trade deadline, we went live.
So Simmons is talking about the fact that the day of that trade, now he is like an on the fence, like Bruins fan, like a lot of hockey fans are, but he loves the Bruins and cares about them.
Right.
So when a trade like that, when a trade like that goes down, he wants as much information as he can possibly get right away. He was like, he couldn't find anything. He literally had to go to the NHL network, and there were two guys who were talking back and forth about, the trade. And he said they were doing a good job, but he was like, that's what people want. So you do there you are. The Cam show is up there live. People get alerts that you're talking about this trade on the trade deadline day. And it's really interesting, the interest that you generate. And obviously you had a lot of connectivity with your audience. Do you think that that's where we're going in sports media now? Because even the first take stuff is like, here's what we think is going to happen. Even that gets kind of tired. That's why Van Pelt is so great, because, okay, here's what just happened. Let's react to it. Let's talk to somebody who was at the game. That's real, right?
Yeah, I think that's where it becomes like the most authentic, right? It's like literally we're finding it out in the moment. Like I try not to be too much of a journalist. I don't think I'm much of a journalist anyway, but like I lean into this because I'm a fan, right? And I think people like that. And now I'm starting to consider starting to weigh the odds of Bill Simmons watching my Brad Marchand.
Dude, I thought he was going to.
I didn't even think of that part in the pod, so.
I really thought he was going to say, I stumbled across.
Started listening to this guy, the Cam show, and this guy he went for like an hour. It was like a top 8 or 12 trade reaction I've ever seen. That would have been unbelievable, but he could have watched it.
By the way, it's out there. That's my point, dude, that the possibility of that happening is actually real.
Yeah, no, it is. And honestly, I'm glad he said that, because I definitely feel that way about most sports today, but specifically the NHL. Like, it's just tough. Like, I want a raw, instant reaction. And that is the thing that podcasts cannot keep up with. As much as we love podcasts, like, there is still that need for, oh my God, I'm on the highway on trade deadline day, whatever, baseball, hockey, NBA. My team just made a deal, but all I listen to for hockey is Spittin' Chicklets, or all I listen to is Section 10 for the Red Sox. That's where sports talk radio may be the only place that it is still very important. It's something that podcasts can't really replicate. We have a good thing where we're kind of like a podcast, but we're also live every day. So we can just throw on live and have that happen. But that to me is ends up being what I consume the most because I listen to Bruins post games and a lot of Red Sox post games, and those are, every day, every couple of days here. And they do great numbers for me on Locked On Baylor. My post games are always the most viewed, even when I'm getting good views on other stuff. Because that's what people want. They want to sit and talk about the game and what just happened and the bigger picture. They don't want all the answers. They don't even want all the stats, I don't think. They just want what we just watched. They want that feeling. They want it from another fan. They don't want it from a journalist. And you mentioned Scott Van Pelt in there, and like obviously that's where he has a huge benefit. Like right after an NBA Finals game, he's there and he's talking to people. But like when I'm watching the Celtics in the NBA Finals, I want to listen to a Celtics fan after the game and go through all of that. So, I mean, yeah, that's to me, like that's the funnest part to do. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how it fits into the greater landscape now, but
I think it fits. I think honestly, it fits into the future. I think it's where we're going. And I wanted to ask you, as somebody who, J school kid, right? Was that what should you say you're a J school guy? Or just communications. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So we'll say you're a journalism school kid.
Yeah. That's purposes.
Journalist, really, you are. Do you worry about that, like rolling around the mud with that title after a game? Because that's my thing. I was thinking about, well, I should do that more often. But then I was like, well, wait a minute. Because this is when I was listening to them, I was like, because that moves me, that excites me doing that, the reaction. But then I'm like, well, I mean, even today I got on here. I was like, oh, shit, I don't know if Texas plays today. So I'm looking through my phone. Does Texas play today? Now, somebody could be like, what the hell? This guy doesn't even know if Texas is playing today. And he's talking about them being on the bubble. So do you worry about that at all? Like, okay, I'm strictly a fan, but how much more knowledge? And you are an amazing fan, but how much more intel do you have than the guy, you know what I mean? That just watched the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's some of that.
And I'm just saying, like, what do you think about this? This isn't like a prying needle in question. Like, where do you think that's going?
Yeah. And to kind of relate to it is like, there's sometimes I go on a Baylor post game and I just watch the game, but I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Yeah.
And that's always a good thing to have, right? But like
Mosley's great with that, with the box score. He'll just take the box score and just go right down it, right?
But sometimes I hate doing that. I don't want to do that. But sometimes I'm like 5 or 6 minutes in and I'm like, oh, wow, I don't even have a point to make yet that's based on the box score. Because honestly, when it comes down to it, like, I'm a better fan than I am a journalist. I'm a better fan than I am a talker. You know what I mean? I just am. And that gives me a great insight to what other fans are looking to hear, right? Because I watch this team and I know this team. But yeah, so sorry, what was the original question? Like,
I mean, just really, like, how do you feel about, you are a journalist, right?
Yeah.
Like, you are Cam Stewart. Like, you could get a job working for the NHL tomorrow on the NHL network. Like, but you have a history now of these and the reaction shows.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
Is there a line there?
Kind of. Can I take you back to a story, if I may?
Absolutely.
When I was a journalist, a print journalist for the student newspaper at Baylor, I would also write columns in there too. And my senior year was when Tom Brady won his 6th Super Bowl with the Patriots. And I wrote a glowing column about Tom Brady. One of the things in there right at the beginning was I said that Tom Brady was the greatest human being ever formed by natural conception.
Yes.
And I compared him to Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and my own father. And the sports editor texted me as it was going to print and said, just wanted to make sure you're okay with running this. And I was like, yeah. He was like, okay, like employers might see that in the future. And I had this thought that's such a 21-year-old thought, but it's one that I would still employ today. I said, if some employer saw that later on and couldn't see that as a little bit of tongue in cheek and wasn't going to hire me because of that, I don't want to work there. Like at the end of the day, I'm just not going to, that's going to be awful for me. And so there's that kind of thought of like, man, if you can't let loose a little bit, you can't be a fan a little bit, then why did you get into this? you got into this because you are a fan, because you watch sports, you watch these teams. And obviously with me, maybe more so than some other people, I am fanatical. Like I get way into it and I'm way into my teams. And that's why I wanted to I wanted to do this as a kid because my fastball couldn't touch 50 and I couldn't pitch for the Red Sox. Like that's why I got into this. So you do have to strike a balance for sure, but it's fun being a fan. And I think in 2025, you get a good audience being a fan. I'll get one someday.
Could you, is there an existence? That was a great answer, by the way, because honestly, like that's like in life, it really comes back to like, what are your core beliefs, right? Like
we're in an age where you can be that.
Yeah.
Like, not to date you here, Pete, but like when you broke in, which wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of things, there wasn't really an outlet for that. No. For a fan, and Barstool is a huge part in this and kind of making that a big thing. But if you couldn't be just a fan on TV, right?
Dude, I can go back to like
when actually was probably the first one.
I can go back to like when I was doing PR in the NBA, how much has changed. Like there was no thought there would be a couple of guys that talked about the game on, Comcast Sportsnet, which is now NBC Sports Philly. And there would be, they talk about it on talk radio a little bit, but there was not like live reaction stuff that was like really stirring the drink,
sure.
Because even by the time the game was over, the guys on at night sucked. You had to wait.
There's a reason why they're on at night.
Yeah. If you wanted to hear Howard Eskin, you had to wait till the next day at 4:00, like now, do you think yourself, with what you do now, with the success you're having, like, could you see a world where you're strictly like, just hold on. Could you see a world where there are like, like strictly like you're kind of reacting all the time? Like, and I think that is what like YouTubers do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But like it really hasn't totally been absorbed by the sports world.
Yeah.
Like, is that something we could see happening more? Because here's what Brasillo said about Scott Van Pelt. All those years at ESPN, when the 6 p.m. Sports Center was the gold standard, they constantly tried to give it to Van Pelt, and he was like, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be on late. I want to react to what just happened. Like that is to me what is interesting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you see this just growing more and more and more?
Absolutely, dude. Like,
yeah.
Absolutely. And again, to bring them back into this, like Barstool has a ton to do with that because they hired fans to talk about their team and said, just let loose. Like the thing that pisses me off with sports talk radio in 2025, like more than anything, is just the fakeness of it all, like the fake outrage and like knowing that you're not actually mad about this, or and the just fake, trying to be a contrarian.
And
like
the fake I know more than you. The fake I know more than you. You don't know more than me. Were you at like the talking head? Like, were you at the game tonight? Were you at practice today? Like, unless you can tell me you were, you know what I mean? Like, then you don't know more than Cam, right?
Yeah, yeah. And like, I personally like when they're actually passionate and they actually care. And that's where it's going to manifest itself, is why I'm getting back to this. It's going to manifest itself in these reaction type shows. And I've had that similar thought to Van Pelt of like, I've been lined up with some jobs that's like totally reactionary. And I'm like, to me, that's better. Not because I don't want to think about stuff in advance like I do for my show, but because like it's just that's where I'm at my best. That's where I'm emoting the best. So,
and the other stuff is a little inauthentic because I know that I don't have a crystal ball, and I know that like whatever opinion I have, at some point they're going to roll the ball out and they're going to play the game, right? And the reality is reacting to that reality. All the other stuff is smoke, unless I know that your quarterback was out all night doing coke and he's going to have an awful game. I'm just.
And you don't know that anymore.
Yeah.
Anymore, Pete.
All right, so Cam, one more thing on this about the logistics of it.
I like talking this. Yeah.
So you're at home with Grace.
Yeah.
And something happens.
Yeah.
At 5 p.m. where there's a trade, right? Red Sox have a trade. Like, are you in a position now where you can just shut it down and go right to Cam Central and go live.
Yeah. It has its difficulties being in a very small apartment. Like I literally do the show basically from the kitchen. So we've now had talks of like when we can cook dinner and stuff. But yeah, no, I can do that and being able to do all this stuff from home. Like that's what happened on Friday during the trade deadline. Like I was still doing work. It put off some work. But I was like, you know what? It was literally like a half hour before. I'm like, I'm here. Like the Bruins are making moves. Like, let's just do this. Let's just hop in. I've got the laptop right here and can log right on and do this. And so, yeah, that helps a ton. Late nights are tough because it's a small apartment, but which I have to do sometimes for Baylor. But you know, it's something that I can pick up and do. And so while, you know, at a point in my life where I wish I was making some more money, at least I have this kind of flexibility that I can hop on and do something like that.
But even after Luka got traded, like ESPN, like they did the right thing. Like Brian Windhorst, I don't know how they did it, but was live in studio. You know what I mean? At like 2 a.m. Like that is, you know, I don't care how much money you make. If you want to do this the right way, I think you have to have that kind of flexibility. There is no more.
And by the way, Simmons did a pod that night too.
Yeah.
Which is on the West Coast, sure, but that's a Saturday night at like midnight
for a guy who's worth tens of millions of dollars.
Right. He should be half in the bag, man, and he's out here doing a podcast.
Yeah. So that's what's brilliant about it. All right, last thing. When you went on, like, do you have a specific way that people know that you're live? Like, do you have like I'm a Cam Show subscriber, but I didn't see an alert that Cam went live. I saw you tell us.
If you ring that notification bell on YouTube, you get notified every time I go live. So there you go. That's how you get it.
So folks, when people subscribe, they don't hit the notification bell. They're just subscribed.
Correct.
Okay. So you have to, so that is an important thing.
So if you're subscribed, you can like go onto YouTube, and every once in a while that I'm going live, it'll tell you, just be like, hey, Camp Show's live. You subscribe to it. But if you get notifications, it'll tell you every time. And I think there's one where you can get a notification like directly to your phone, not just through YouTube. So you can get literally a ping like, hey, Camp Show's going live.
That's almost like a marketing idea to keep in mind. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button.
Hit that bell. Yeah.
Hit that bell for Cam. All right, let's ring the Big 12. Let's ring the Big 12 bell real quick.
All right.
I think Baylor, and just a couple minutes here because we're up against it, and you've been so generous with your time. I think Baylor is in trouble tonight. I truly believe. By the way, it's every time I hear it, my head it almost explodes. 19 years, Tang was an assistant for Scott Drew.
19 years.
Wow. And you know that
coaching small Christian high school basketball.
And Coach Drew hates this game. I don't care what anybody says. He hates this game. And if he wins, then he's got to play Grant McCaslin, who I don't think he's as close with. But or still, is he? I don't know.
He's not as close as our friend Matt Mosley, frat brother of Grant McCaslin. I don't know if you got this opinion from Locked On Baylor, because I put it out the other day. I think Baylor should be terrified to play Kansas State.
Yes.
Not because Kansas State's better than them, but I mean, Kansas State has some quality that's been rather untapped, I think, this whole season to a bigger extent than Baylor has. But, you know, they played them really tight. Kansas State did earlier this year. Scott Drew's 1-3 against Jerome Tang. We have seen this Kansas State team, when their backs have been against the wall, go on a pretty impressive run. Now, they faltered after that, and that's why they're 500 right now.
Yeah.
But we saw them go on a pretty impressive, like 2-week tear in the middle of the season there, 2.5-week tear. There's no reason to believe they can't put together some games like that again and get into this tournament. The only thing that would hurt Baylor in Kansas City would be as if they go out in the first round tonight.
Yes. And
I don't know if it knocks them out of the tournament, but you're going in there on Sunday with no real guarantees.
Dude,
you haven't done yourself.
Gonzaga winning last night. We're starting to see this kind of stuff where it's like, okay, now teams are off the bubble and in the tournament because they won a conference tournament. Then a conference tournament favorite is back on the bubble. This is the Wild West. Lest we forget about the decades previous we've had as evidence.
Yep, a lot can change in these next couple of days. Again, I don't think it knocks Baylor out, but it's the only thing that could.
Yeah, a loss tonight. All right, the Cam Show is coming up next. Cam, great job, dude. I've been
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah. I think you're like, I don't know. I think the live stuff is really cool. And I hope Corey is not listening or won't watch this because he'll have us going live every time.
Every
like
time
he would have had you
yeah.
going live yesterday when the bear died. So
Oh, true, yeah.
are you upset about that?
It's sad.
How old was the bear?
Two bears from my time are both gone.
How old was the bear?
22?
How long did they live? Around 20 some years?
Yeah, something like that. It's kind of like a horse. If a horse doesn't break its leg.
I told Christy when we get married, we're gonna put Sadie, my dog, up at the front in a cage like Mike the Tiger. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna kick ass.
Right? How cool would that be?
Can Sadie not be trusted outside the cage? Or
I mean, she can't be running around a wedding, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. All right, the Cam show's coming up. Cam, thank you so much, dude. That was great stuff. I love talking sports media. All right, buddy. All right, that's Cam Stewart, the Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovakics. Step aside real quick. We'll come back and put a bow on it. Zach Burke in the home office. Thank you so much, brother.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at GlobalHealing.com and OrganicHemp.com. Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now.
And now, back to our show.
All right, thanks to Cam Stewart, the Pete Sousa Show. Rocking and rolling. We're going to wrap up right now. We're going to leave with some Big 12 picks. I was 2 of 2 yesterday. Let's have a little bit of fun with this. This is called accountability. Big part of staying sober is being accountable. I went to a meeting yesterday, by the way, and this young guy came in, and his girlfriend had just dumped him, and he was so distraught. And it was like you would have thought the guy had just been dumped by his wife. It was awful. And I said, after the meeting, I was like, yo, like how long? Because it's important to share that stuff, right? Because that's the kind of stuff that can drive you to a drink again. So after the meeting, I was like, how long you guys been together? He was like 2 weeks. I was like, this is my guy. I was exactly like that. But he was there and he was talking about it. He was being accountable about how he knew that these feelings he was having were absolutely bananas. But those are matters of the heart. And that's why it's important to share that stuff with people. Because, I can't share this. I can't tell anybody this. Then it becomes this monster of an issue. And you go do something crazy in my world, like drink, when it's like, no, dude, just tell somebody and we'll laugh about it. And that's exactly what we did. All right. So accountability, a big thing. We're going to be accountable. Yesterday we were 2 and 2. All right. Today, Iowa State and Cincinnati. Iowa State a 9.5 point favorite. We like Iowa State. Second game, Colorado and West Virginia. By the way, I'm not sure about the order. This is just the second game that I'm talking about. Colorado and West Virginia. West Virginia, a 7.5-point favorite. I want to take Colorado, but I'm not going to do it. West Virginia, okay? West Virginia. I want to take Colorado like with my heart because I just love an underdog. But we're taking West Virginia. West Virginia's Javon Small is like really, really good, okay? And Colorado is out of gas after playing yesterday. They really had to dig deep for that win. Kansas State and Baylor. Baylor is a 6.5-point favorite. I went over that with Cam. Kansas State all day. I think if you want to have a little fun, go Kansas State money line. And then UCF and Kansas, 10.5 points. I'm not saying Kansas is going to lose. I don't think they will, but I do not think they will cover the 10.5. I like UCF. UCF can score the basketball, and I think that will help them keep pace long enough to cover the spread. Teams to watch today, Texas and Oklahoma. Our former Big 12 buddies are playing for their postseason lives. Both have games today in the SEC tournament. Texas plays Vanderbilt. Oklahoma plays Georgia. Those are two critical games. And we're in that part of the season now, especially today more than ever, that these games and what happens is going to dictate whose bubbles burst and whose bubbles can stay strong enough to bounce into the big dance. All right, the Pete Sousa Show back tomorrow. Zach Burke in the home studio. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lovacics. D1, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, Crawford Austin Properties. Do not forget about Socorro Family Ford. If you need a whip, check out Socorro Family Ford. You can find them in West, and you can find us here tomorrow. Zach, take us away.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. At a At Casus, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Sports.
We are Rogue Media Sports.